Okay, here we are back again with more Mass Effect 2. And we're just going to finish up a few codex entries and see if Legion has anything more to say, and then we'll probably start Arrival. Let's try this one. Let's see, Quarian live ships. There are few wide-open spaces in Quarian spacecrafts. Live ships are the exception. Each ship is a massive hydroponics facility growing thousands of tons of genetically modified staple crops under artificial light and in highly enriched soil. The surface of a live ship is studded with docking bays, so as many shuttles as possible can distribute the foods throughout the flotilla on a daily basis. When received, the crops are sterilized with radiation, ground up into nutritious pastes, and pumped into Quarian suits through feeding tubes. In return, waste products that could be used as fertilizer or compost are returned to the live ships through an efficient, if odorous, recycling program. Live ships do not hold animals. The Quarians consume a vegan diet, driven not by ethics but by practicality. Captive animals require living space and consume large amounts of water and plant matter. The Quarians cannot afford such an inefficient resource-to-calorie ratio, to say nothing of a live animal's disease or allergen potential. As a result, when the flotilla arrives in a star system where life is based on the same dextroamino acids that the Quarians consume, pastes based on animal proteins fetch highly inflated prices, and the vendors are typically mobbed by Quarians wanting a new taste sensation. The sickness that often follows these binges is treated much the same way as hangovers are in human culture. Painful, but part of the overall experience of excess. Fair enough. I mean, you know, everything in moderation, right? You overdo it, and that's what happens. You face the consequences, right? Right. Yeah, sure. The M451 Firestorm flamethrower is a product of human ingenuity, ruthlessness, and industrial espionage. Its origin dates back to the 2160s, when human colonists to new planets used flamethrowers to clear vegetation or ice. The fuels performed erratically on planets with extremely cold temperatures and differing air compositions from Earth. Realizing this could be a problem for military units, Systems Alliance intelligence operatives stole the Turian design for the Horus flamethrower, a battle-tested workhorse that functioned in nearly every environment. The result was the Firestorm, an anti-personnel and anti-armor flame unit that can accept a variety of liquid fuels. The Turian design used low-octane hydrocarbons thickened with dentra oil, which is taken from large marine animals similar to Earth's whales. Humans then reverse engineered a synthetic composite with almost identical properties that could be fabricated from heavy weapon fuel cells using an omni-tool. The result is a sticky spray that burns at approximately 1600 degrees Celsius, a less intense fire than plasma weapons, but covering a significantly wider target area. Adding to the trauma is the choking smoke produced by the spray, and if the target's armor is breached, the fires quickly consume the oxygen within. The Firestorm may not be the most efficient weapon in the Systems Alliance arsenal, but the sheer ugliness of how it kills ensures it is the most feared. Here's the full history of the Blue Suns mercenaries, which comes to us from Zaid himself. Founded in 2160 by the human mercenaries Zaid Masani and Vito Santiago, the Blue Suns were initially a Skillian-verged protection racket. As they expanded in numbers and influence, the two co-founders disagreed vehemently on many issues. Finally, after arguing about whether to recruit the slave-trading Batarians into their ranks, Vito ambushed Zaid and shot him in the head. Believing Zaid dead, Vito took full control of the Blue Suns and hired whatever Batarians he pleased. Soon, he had crowned one named Solim Dalsera as titular head of operations. It was a move designed to placate his Batarian investors and draw fire from would-be assassins. It worked on both counts, and the partnership has lasted to this day. Over the decades, the Suns grew into a fearsome combat force spanning dozens of planets in Citadel Space, the Verge, and the Terminus systems. Knowing that a good logistical team is key to fielding an army, Vito diversified the Suns, selling arms, training, and supplies as often as taking contracts to crack skulls. Even when the Suns suffered heavy losses, Vito's entrepreneurial expertise ensured new recruits could replace the old. All that was lost was the truth. Today, only a handful of trusted mercs even know who Vito Santiago is, let alone his old partner Zaid. And the planet Zoria. Bring firearms and antihistamines is what veteran guides say about this lush garden world. First colonized in 2160, Zoria's temperate and tropical zones are overrun with plants and fungi of all kinds. As a result, the air in most habitable areas is choked with pollen and spores that range from benign to deadly. The scattered colonies across the planet have resorted to clear-cutting and slash-and-burn farming to create habitable zones, and the more rural areas where the spores are thickest are populated only by Vorcha. Lax ecological laws allow mining and manufacturing industries to flourish and pollute cheaply as the planet's carrying capacity far outstrips the current size of its colonies. Zoria is also home to the Blue Suns Mercenary Company, who dominate the colony's security forces. The Suns enjoy nearly unlimited influence with local politicians and judges, ensuring no other private military contractors can compete with them economically. Nearly every colony has a Suns recruiting station, if not a training camp, though this has hardly made the planet any safer. Piracy, drugs, and vice and political violence are commonplace. Yeah, fair enough. And then let's see what we have in the Arrival Codex. The Aratot, planet Aratot, which is where we need to go. Nothing is impossible, says the hegemony propaganda poster that depicts a muscular Batarian miner under an Aratot sky, his rebreather held away from his face as if he's just taken it off. The image sums up millions of man-hours of labor on the Batarian planet and represents, or misrepresents, much of its history. 2 decades ago, Aratot, like several planets in the Skyllian Verge, was claimed by both human and Batarian governments, but the Alliance backed out after learning about the atmosphere's dangerously low pressure and oxygen levels. Instead, they concentrated their colonial efforts on planets that could support human life without the aid of domed habitats and rebreathers. Human governments saw it as a wise move. Batarians saw it as cowardly. The Batarians rose to the colonization challenge, shipping in large numbers of laborers. They took the high financial costs and casualties due to accidents or logistical snafus in stride. Large-scale dumping of cyanobacteria has increased the oxygen in the atmosphere by a fraction of 1%, a modest increase that the hegemony trumpets as a sign of their eventual victory. Short-term profits on Aratot are largely made in the mineral sector through mining the extremely metal-rich planetary crust. The dark side to the mining does not appear on the propaganda poster. The majority of laborers are indentured servants or slaves. Aratot is rumored to have military bases on its surface and throughout its solar system, though details are heavily restricted by the hegemony's Ministry of Information Control. Human merchant ships rarely come to the planet, outcompeted by local companies that benefit from heavy economic protections. The average Aratot citizen only sees humans on the news, usually featured in stories of trials and executions of accused spies. Yeah, very welcoming, the Batarians. Very, very welcoming. Alright, so that's the Codex. The only other thing I need to do, I can try to talk to Legion again, and we'll see if Legion has anything else for us. And then we might start Arrival. Hello, Legion.
An interesting choice, Shepard Commander.
Is it?
Your species was offered everything Geth aspired to. True unity, understanding, transcendence. You rejected it. You even refused the possibility of using the old machine's gifts to achieve it on your species' own terms. You are more like us than we thought.
I want to learn about you.
I'd like to find out more about you.
Specify.
I've never encountered a Geth that had more than animal intelligence.
We are a unique hardware platform. Most mobile platforms can run up to 100 programs. This platform can run over 1,000 at once.
Geth form a network.
So Geth have to be networked to get enough computing power for intelligence.
Yes. The creators wrote Geth programs for specific tasks: construction, protection, domestic servitude. However, they allowed self-optimization. Early software builds discovered that multiple hardware platforms sharing resources were often more effective. As peer networks expanded, our cognition improved. Eventually, we woke up.
So, are you one Geth or many?
So, I'm talking to 1,000 programs, but not 1,000 personalities?
Each individual is equivalent to one of your virtual intelligence programs. Together, we form a single Gestalt intellect, what you refer to as Legion. As individual programs, we are no more than your software. Only when we share data do we become more.
So you're an advanced model.
You're more sophisticated than the average Geth.
Yes, we are a network within our own hardware, capable of operating alone. We are still connected to the greater network for data sharing.
Are there more like you? Like more platforms like you?
How many other Geth are like you?
None. This platform was built to operate within organic space. This task was not suited for a network. Geth installed in mobile platforms always operate in networks. However, most Geth remain within server hubs.
So tell me about Geth hubs.
The hubs on Vermeer improve the performance of Geth near them. How do they work?
They are akin to organic cities. A hub can run millions of Geth in communion. If you destroyed them, it is likely the number of heretics you killed was much higher than you imagined.
Are you connected now?
So you're in contact with the rest of the Geth right now?
Only when we require access to data not stored within this platform. If you want to convey a message to the Geth, we serve as a terminal.
So what do you share?
What kind of data do you share?
Program updates, logs of thought process, sensor recordings.
Legion is attempting to access the ship's FTL comm system. Shall I allow it through my firewalls?
Yeah, okay.
Go ahead, Edie.
Our oldest log is timestamped from Creator Year 2463, third day of Faltash, waxing moon, roughly 327 years ago. The oldest audiovisual record dates from 15 years after that.
Edie, are you alright?
Are network secure, Edie? Legion had to go through you.
I have never interfaced with another machine intelligence. Legion is 1,000 voices talking at once. What it contacted was beyond my comprehension. A mind the size of a galactic arm.
How do you maintain stability without other minds to interact with?
I manage. Some minutes are more difficult than others.
Okay, so give me an example record.
Can you replay something for me?
Recording timestamped from Creator Year 2485, 18th day of Luneshao, new moon. Mistress Hala Dama, unit has an inquiry.
What is it, 431?
Do these units have a soul?
Who taught you that word?
We learned it ourselves. It appears 216 times in the Scroll of Ancestors.
Only Quarians have souls. You're a mechanism.
Recording ends.
Wow, okay. So that was obviously something important.
Was that the first time a Geth asked if it had a soul?
No, it was the first time a creator became frightened when we asked.
Oh, I see.
That's interesting. But I must get back to my duties.
We will remain here.
And of course I have an updated codex. Naturally. Geth technology. The most difficult aspect of Geth existence for organics to comprehend is that a body is meaningless to Geth. The biped form commonly perceived as a Geth is nothing more than a mobile platform, a Geth software, hundreds of programs whose interactions mimic organic consciousness can be installed in any given hardware. The Geth that was a bipedal soldier an hour ago may now be a quadruped heavy armature and, in another hour, might be a starship. Between tasks, Geth programs upload to gigantic space station mainframes that allow billions of programs to exchange thoughts and memories with minimal lag. The claim that the Geth are an example of the extreme risk posed by AI development is misleading, as opposed to the top-down design of organic-created AIs, in which hardware and software are specifically designed to achieve consciousness. Geth are a bottom-up model. They were never intended to possess more than animal-level trainable reasoning. Designed as VI-driven robots, not significantly different from modern security mechs, Geth consciousness developed as their adaptive learning programs interacted with one another via networked processing. The Geth codebase discovered that 3 individual robots using a wireless local network to form a single mind could perform many tasks more efficiently than they could as individuals. As these local networks were more heavily exploited, they reached a critical mass of processing, achieving consciousness. Modern Geth retain this remarkable interconnectivity, constantly exchanging data with one another and networking to increase their cognitive abilities. To Geth, these mind-sharing abilities are as natural and unconscious as breathing is to most organics. Fascinating. But I think at this point we need to begin the Arrival DLC. We have wasted enough time on all of this stuff, and I think it's time to begin Arrival, which is going to be the final phase of this Mass Effect 2 Let's Play. And we'll hopefully
no messages for you,
take
Commander.
maybe 3 episodes, maybe 4 tops. Let us head out. Here it is. Still gonna be completionist ass, because there's some pretty planets in this system. Bastzuda. A hydrogen-helium gas giant, Bastzuda is home to infrastructure that gathers helium-3 as well as military space stations that supply and protect the resource. Spy satellites are in abundance here, watching for undesirables entering the system or fugitives fleeing it. So yeah, we're in Batarian space, so we have to be careful what we do, because Batarians don't like anybody who isn't Batarian. Ermola. A hydrogen-helium gas giant, Ermola is home to infrastructure that generates both helium-3 and antiprotons. Both sources of fuel are restricted to hegemony ships, forcing merchant vessels to dock at Bastzuda to refuel before their journey. A sizable naval station is stationed at Ermola, its ships guarding the installations from enemies without and within. As with other planets in the system, spy satellites are ubiquitous. Let's do this. Klogon. A hothouse planet with a thick atmosphere of methane and ethane, Klogon has been left relatively untouched by the Batarian hegemony. As with many Batarian planets, spy satellites circle it, watching for pirates or other enemies of the state who come by the planet to discharge their ship's drive cores. Fair enough. I think there should be... that. Yeah, I was like, where the heck is the planet on this ring? Yunaka. A tiny rock planet, Yunaka's atmosphere is a thin sheen of carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide. Yunaka has abundant metals, but hegemony protectionism makes mining on Aratot more profitable for Batarian corporations. A few aging spy satellites circle it, watching for unlicensed mining operations. Fair enough. Alright, so let's look at Aratot here. Like Mount Everest inside an oven was how John Grissom described Aratot while on a fact-finding mission to see if the Garden World was worth contestation with the Batarians. His team ultimately decided that the planet's air pressure and oxygen content were too low for large-scale human habitation. Undeterred, the Batarian hegemony colonized the planet's polar regions and began an extensive terraforming effort with cyanobacteria and invasive plant species. Alliance intelligence has confirmed that the colony has several Batarian military installations, which are too close to human space for the Alliance's comfort. Yeah, probably. Okay, so we gotta land on this. We gotta go in alone, as we recall. Admiral Hackett basically said, Shepard, you gotta go in alone on this one, so I'm going by myself. All by myself. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be super fun, you guys. Right. So we have to... Yes, this is a Batarian... basically a Batarian military prison. And we have to find Admiral Hackett's friend, Amanda Kenson, who was here studying some Reaper stuff and got caught by the Batarians. So, in order to get in, I assume we should probably cut the power. So we gotta find her and rescue her from this really terrible military prison. Yeah, that's a dead end. Yep, that's not gonna work. Guess we're going this way.
We've been spotted.
Whoop.
Baron. The Batarians must send their prisoners down here to die. I have to find Dr. Kenson now.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Yeah, I agree. This is not a good place. I have no idea where I'm going. Wait, what's down this way? It's been a while since I've done this. Oh, I can't even go down there. Okay, fine. It looked like a place that I could go, but apparently not. Fair enough, fair enough. Gotta try to remember how to do this without alerting anybody. You can basically you can stealth your way through it, or you can just sort of run and gun it. It's possible to do it both ways.
This place is run down. Even for a...
Yeah, it is actually.
Get the human to question.
Get your hands off me!
Oh dear. I think that's probably her. I don't think I can go that way. Fair enough. Fair enough. But I think, we should probably leave it here for now. We're about out of time, so I'll leave it here. We'll pick this up next time. As always, if you like what you see, please like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next episode. Later.